What's going on, guys? It's Brandon from Audio Addiction. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is going to be a double feature. Tonight, I'm starting off with Outline and Color's newest record, Coast is Clear, and then we're going to be following that up about at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Going to be listening to Boston Manor's newest record, Datura. I think that's the name of it. I'm pretty sure. So, very excited. There was a lot of good releases that came out on Friday, so I'm going to try to get through all of them. I want to do Boundaries, newest record, and then probably We Came as Romans tomorrow, like late. It's going to be probably around a similar time frame, but want to try to get through all of them because there's some really good ones coming out. And then next week, I think Avoid's newest record comes out. So there's quite a few albums that I'm really stoked on that are going to be coming out and just rounding out the rest of the year with. So wanted to listen to this one for quite a bit. I have listened to the two singles when I talked with Skaggs. Shout out to Mike Skaggs. He's the boy. I love him. Great dude. We had a great conversation. So if you have a chance, watch that. It was great. But as well as that, he was talking about the album. But the two songs I listened to was Do Your Worst and Quicksand. Do Your Worst features Loveless. If you haven't checked out him, gotta go do it. And then the other one, Quicksand, features Michael Swank of the band Foxera. He used to be in Micah Relocate. But he's also fantastic as well. So those are the two that I have listened to already. I did, no pun intended, I did Avoid, the feature with Avoid, as well as the, I think the other one that they released was Toss the Match. So as like a single. So I'm really excited because I haven't gotten into any of this. And if you missed on Thursday night late, I did a review of Bill Murray's newest record, Goblin Hours. So I'm really trying to hit all of them. It's been very tough, but it's been a lot of fun. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. But like I said, I've been in the interview. I mentioned how I've been a fan of Outline and Color for a couple, more than a couple years, for a pretty decent amount of time now. I really got into them in Jury of Wolves, and so, I know that they have changed a lot in iterations over the years, but I wanted to give this album a listen because I'm very excited on how the singles came out, and I'm just wondering how the rest of the record is going to pan out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't get DMCA'd too hard. Otherwise, the stream will be a little bit rough, and I'll probably have to start to record it, which... Speaking of which, I will start recording just in case. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like this, if you haven't listened to Outline and Color, check the links below. Please go check them out. They're awesome. I love them, and they're great people. So please go do that. But anyway, we're going to get into the title track, the first song, Coast is Clear. Very excited. Let's go give it a listen. All right. Oh yeah, this is sick. Oh, the drum roll. Drumming on this is so sick. I love it. Oh, there's gonna be a sick break. Oh yeah. That was cool. I like that. Reveal your face every single time. Everything you want is everything you're not. Fall right back in a line. Let me say it again. Now it's a race to the finish line. Reveal your face every single time. Everything you want is everything you're not. Fall right back in a line. Let me say it again. Fall right back in a line. Let me say it again. Man, what a heat. Man, they started this album off with heat. I love it. Guys, if you just tuned in, this is the first track off of Outline in Color's newest record, Coast is Clear. The title track, Coast is Clear. Wow, this one had such a great energy to it. I love it. The drumming on this was immaculate. We love it. It gave me this real kind of like nu metal feel to it. I think it definitely had like a cool kind of like guitar, like down tune kind of riff, which was really interesting. It kind of reminded me a lot of bands like, it definitely gave me like a Linkin Park sort of feel to it, which I really enjoy. Obviously, one of the bigger bands that got me into listening to this type of music. So I, obviously owe a lot to them, and, much love to Chester. He's always missed, but I thought this was really tight. I almost thought for sure that Skaggs was going to be hitting us with a little bit of heavier screams on this one, because it was a little bit, like I said, it almost had like a Corey Taylor, like Slipknot-ish kind of like scream. But for the most part, it was like pretty aggressive. The drumming, I feel like a lot of the strong points of this song were definitely like the instrumentals. I love the drumming on this song. I think the drumming was ridiculous, and I want to give a shout out to their drummer, because I don't know his name, so I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, it was so well antiquated into the song, and I think it added a lot to just the aggression of what they're doing. Austin is his name. Shoutouts to Austin, because his drumming was awesome. I love the little like drum roll action kind of thing where like before the breakdown and kind of in like a lot of the riffs, he was doing like a lot of drum rolls, and like some of the hits were really tight. But I really enjoyed it, and it matched up really well with CJ's guitar playing, which was really cool. But I will say that chorus really took me by surprise. I enjoyed it a lot. That melody really gets stuck in your head. And I love that. It was kind of like mid-tone, which was nice. I know that they definitely have some like strong vocals, so I'm very curious on this one. They kind of let the track speak for itself, which I do appreciate, because sometimes if you've been in the scene long enough, you know that you enjoy just the most incredible like vocal lines sometimes, and those work out well. But I also love when a song is like a little bit more instrumentally focused as well, and I feel like that's it. And the vocals, along being another instrument, I think it does accentuate some of the heavier aspects of the song. But I really do feel like this was like just a riff, and like guitar riff and like drum centric track. Like, it was just so cool. And like I said, Austin, absolutely killed it on this song because he was just ripping it up. So really appreciate this one. This one was a fun vibe. I think if you aren't familiar with this band and this was the first song you listen, if you are into heavy music, you're definitely going to get dragged in with a song like this. This one right out the gate was super energetic, super fun. And I really enjoyed it. So this one was a good one to give a good idea, I would definitely say. But as well as that, it was just a nice, just like stupid heavy track. And we love those here. So thumbs up, like this one. But I'm going to move it on to the second track, which is Super Ego. So let's give it a listen.
Only treat me right when you're doing wrong, and it kills me more than it'll hurt when you hear this song.
Ooh. That was a cool intro.
I've been here for so long.
I love the acoustic guitar tone on this track.
All of the tears I've cried can't be shown. Suffer through thoughts of being alone. Don't know where to start or how to atone. Drifting further with every
nice chorus.
empty word. Why can't you say what to me? It's getting harder to make the fire burn. Why can't you say what to me? I cannot pretend I've always
The melodies are on point with this track too.
if it's time for a night, then it's all over for you. Your life can't die down. Drifting further with every empty word. Why can't you
The second chorus is hitting. Love it.
It's getting harder to make the fire burn. Why can't you say what to me? Getting tired of hiding and smoke and pretend to find meaning. Might read it, 10 steps and back to back again. So vague with the words you say, what does it mean? Drifting further with
Oh, this is such a cool song. I like this one a lot.
why can't you say? Drifting further with every empty word. Why can't you say what to me? It's getting harder to make the fire burn. Why can't you say what to me? Why can't you say what to me?
Ooh, nice.
Why can't you say what to me?
All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, this was track Dos off of Outlining Colors' newest record, Coast is Clear. Link in the description. Go pick it up. It's awesome thus far. We are only 2 tracks in, and it is great. But this one was different. I was a little bit concerned because the song started off with acoustic guitar, and riding on that high of Coast is Clear. I was a little concerned on, how this was going to go, but I will say that acoustic guitar intro was so nice, and then the way that they transitioned it into being more of like almost like a rock, like post-hardcore kind of sound, I think they did a fantastic job. So big shout outs to that. I also will say the guitar clean tone on that, like the acoustic guitar clean tone, woo, it was nice. I like it. I'm a big guitar player myself, so for me, that, and I know I mentioned it, I'll probably be beating a dead horse, but But that's something that I always love pointing out when I'm listening to different bands. That is something that resonates with me a lot as being, enjoying this. I mean, I love enjoying the songs, but I feel like guitar is like the first thing that initially I get stoked on. And this was really cool. The way that it integrated the acoustic guitar throughout the entire track was really nice as well. I was a little interested on how they were going to integrate it, or if it was just going to be at the beginning of the song, and I'm glad that they mixed it in because it makes the track more unique and more interesting. And I also got to give a shout out to their clean vocalist, who used to be in the band previously, left, came back, and now is again doing clean vocals as well as bass in this album / in Outline and Color. Jonathan, he killed it. I really enjoyed him in Imposter Syndrome, both 1 and 2. But I think that with each album, he's gotten so much better as a vocalist, and I really love that. Some of the melodies on this song were just like so good, and I think the thing is like it could have gone a certain way, and like listening to as many metalcore albums I've listened to over my time of doing this, as well as like previous, I feel like I have a good kind of library of melodies I feel like would work, and it's always something different with what Outline and Color does, and I really appreciate that, because he could have went high, he could have went up, up the octave, but I do appreciate that he made it more of a like minor kind of like lower, like he really made it super melodic, and I appreciate that because it does change the whole like mood of this song in a way, which I really think is something that will separate this song from a lot of the other songs on the record. I'd argue it just has this nice mix of like heaviness, but then it's also got this really beautiful melodicness, and I do think that Jonathan does carry a lot of this song. As much as I love Skaggs in this track, I think he absolutely just when it gets heavy, he comes in, and I really do appreciate that. But Jonathan absolutely smashed this song. I think that the way that they incorporated the acoustic guitar, the way that Jonathan's clean vocals worked, and just some of like the layering and the harmonies going on in this track, it was just really well put together. And thus far, I think this one's my favorite. I know we still have 10 more tracks to listen to, so but this one, out of the ones that I haven't listened to yet, this encapsulated me immediately. So I really think this one is a standout track, certainly. And if you guys like the album, links below. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's true. You gotta go support the boys. So Super Ego, this one's one of my tops. I'm gonna be very curious if this could be close to my favorite on the album, but I haven't listened to everything else. And listen, we have a feature from Chris Roeder of like Moths to Flames, so I can almost be assured that that one's going to be an absolute banger. But let me know in the comments if you're watching this live. Cool. Let me know in the chat if you're watching this after the fact. Drop it in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have in terms of thoughts on the record. So thank you guys for watching as well. We're going to move it into track number 3. This one is called Bitter, and I believe this was one of the singles, because I don't think they released the one Toss the Match with Chris. So very excited. I have not listened to this single, so let's give it a listen. Ooh, I like the intro. This is really neat. Is so dirty.
Life strained anatomy, clip blood squeezed from an artery. Coming to terms with the fact that darkness is
dark. I love it.
barely
I'm getting ready. Let's go.
Know what you can't deny, deny what you won't admit. Bitter is always angry as never. Gonna get a grip.
Oh! Nice. Oof, that one was. Guys, if you just tuned in, this one, Outline in Color, Coast is Clear. This is track 3, Bitter. I literally smacked my, I don't know if you can see it, I did smack my finger against my desk, so this one went hard. So big shout outs to Outline in Color, but man, this one was, I didn't know what to expect at first because it has this real like synth, like electronic kind of intro. And I was like, what are they going to do with this track? What are they going to do with it, right? And then that riff comes in that CJ wrote. God, that was such a, like, disgusting, like, gnarly riff. And I love, like, the dark undertones of the track. And then, man, like, Skaggs came in with some really, like, gnarly screaming. And I also appreciate that they changed up the structure of the song, because I'm almost positive that first portion of the song, like, obviously is that verse, or like maybe it might be just kind of like an extended intro, but then they just hit you straight with the chorus. Like, there's like really no lead up to it, and then you just kind of blast into the chorus, which I really do appreciate, because I think sometimes the formula, you know, you get the, like, get the verse, and you get the pre-chorus, and you get the first chorus, and then you get the second verse, and you get the pre-chorus 2, and then you get chorus number 2, and then you get a bridge/breakdown, then you end with maybe a chorus or another breakdown, whatever. I think sometimes the formula gets a little bit monotonous in some ways, and I always do appreciate when bands switch it up from the atypical formula, which is what I feel like happened here. It seems a lot more, it seems like this song is based more so around the chorus being the centerpiece, as opposed to, you know, maybe kind of the whole, like, let's build up to the chorus, then let's drop back down to the second verse, pre-chorus, and then build back up to the second chorus. I think that this one really hits out the gate immediately, and I will say that in terms of, like, the electronics of this portion of the album, I do appreciate that there's a lot more focus on that in this. I know Skaggs did a lot of that aspect of the sort of keyboards and, like, electronics, but I'm also pretty sure that just the band collectively had a lot of things to go on with that, but really well put together, and I really enjoyed just the way that it's all put together, and yeah, it was really sick as well. So definitely appreciate the sort of heavy vibes that are going on in this track. Sorry, I was blocking someone in the chat. It was terrible. But anyway, I really think that the heaviness of this song and the heaviness of the band, I think, shines a lot in this track, which I do appreciate, because I think that sometimes, you know, with bands that have, like, clean vocalists, you know, sometimes, you know, what I see in, you know, comment sections or things of that nature, Sometimes people get like, really up in arms about having like a song that's like mostly cleans, or in other words, like, having songs that are way too heavy. I think that Outline and Color thus far, and only being 3 songs in, I think do a great job of not only having songs that are heavy and have that sort of heaviness aspect to what they do, because obviously they are a heavy band, but I also love the inclusions of like a really strong chorus, as well as just the ability to incorporate a really strong chorus right out the gate, and then really keep that sort of energy level at a really good plateau. Because I always talk about song structure a lot and these sort of live album reviews, and I think that the structure of this song was really well put together. And I'm not entirely sure who they went with for the producer for this album, but I do think that whoever helped them out in terms of the writing process of this really deserves a lot of kudos, because there is some heaviness aspects to it that I think are really cool, and I think that the structure really stands out in the whole grand scheme of the album. So love that, and I think it's a great single because it is just a dummy heavy track that we all know and love. But I also appreciate that they just didn't release a bunch of heavy songs and then people get kind of like immune to the like songs that have more cleans in it. I think they did a really good job of incorporating songs that were heavy and light that work well to kind of give you a broad scheme of how the record's going to go. So I would say this is a good single, because there are definitely heavy moments of Bitter that remind me a lot of like Coast is Clear, the title track. And I imagine there's some other ones, like even in Do Your Worst, I think there was some heavy moments in that song, certainly, as well as Quicksand. So I think that Bitter, being the heaviest of the 3, really utilizes the aspect of them being able to write a really heavy track. And then some of the other 2 singles that I listened to, Do Your Worst and Quicksand, those I think highlighted more of the clean singing, as well as maybe a different like structure, organization in the album. So really enjoyed this one. This one was a solid one, but we're going to get into track number 4, which is Tear Me Down. right, guys, that was track 4, Tear Me Down. What's going on, Ron? Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. This one is called Tear Me Down off of Outline in Colors, Coast is Clear. You can go check it out. Links below to go pick it up. This one was very good. I think this one, as much as I love Super Ego, this one also was very good. And all 4 songs that I've listened to thus far have been really good. So can't say that any of them are bad right now. They've all been really solid. But I love the chorus on this track. I thought that was really tight. But the thing that I enjoyed the most was that bridge breakdown part. That was so sick. Skaggs does a great like harmonized scream. He's got that real like high like Fry scream going on, and then hits that like mid-range super well. So this one was really tight. Ron says, never listened to this band before. Definitely recommend checking them out. They've had a few different lineup changes, so I would definitely recommend checking out their previous 2 albums. I guess they're EPs per se, but they're of the same name, which is Imposter Syndrome. They have part 1 and part 2. So definitely a band to check out. They've had that lineup for Imposter Syndrome 2 and 1. And then I think maybe the album before this one, I think, is when they changed lineups. So there is a little bit of difference. They have kind of had, I would say, I don't think it's like bad in terms of the members changing. I just feel like over the years their sound kind of has mostly stayed the same-ish, but they've had different vocalists. And then the previous 2 albums, the Imposter Syndrome albums, have the most current lineup. So I would definitely recommend, if you enjoyed this album, definitely go listen to Imposter Syndrome 1 and 2. They're also really good. But anyway, getting back to Tear Me Down, I really thought it was solid. The verses were really killer, but the chorus was really stuck with me the most. And then, like I said, that bridge portion was just nuts. Love it. I think that Skaggs thus far, like on the record, has been really good, but I also feel like he's kind of been a little bit reserved in his screaming a little bit. And in this song, I feel like he just let it all go, which I really do appreciate, because again, being a fan of this band and knowing what he's capable of doing, and in the single releases, just getting a flavor for this album, I know he's got some chops here. So it was good to hear him just let it loose. But yeah, that was really tight. And the guitar parts on this album have been really sick. So I got to give a shout out to CJ, their guitar player. He's awesome. I think his riffs are pretty inventive, if I can argue that. And love it. I think this one's just like a good, solid, like, I would say it's like maybe like mid-high tier, I would say. Again, Super Ego right now is the clear front runner for me as of right now, but still got a good chunk of this record left, so very excited. But go give Tear Me Down a listen, and the rest of this album, links below if you want to give another listen. So this is track number 5, Fight Fair. Let's give it a listen. All right.
Fever dream, I had another one, toss and turn. All night it's time to run, lost and found. It's all that's left of my memory. Where I go, I'm never where I wanna be. I fucking hate me for what's inside of me. Doctors in my face feel like they're staring inside of me. Want to sedate me because I'm craving everything all for myself. I try to see the good that's in everyone. I can see from here that you're out for blood. Tell me what you want from me. I feel like no one's listening to me. Can't shake the feeling that you won't fight fair. Some days I don't care.
Ooh, yeah.
Now you save me for what's inside of me. All the time we wasted, now you're stalling apart of me. Need to be set free so I can finally break. I don't want apology. I try to see the good that's in everyone. I can see from here that you're out for blood. Tell me what you want from me. I feel like no one's listening to me. Can't shake the feeling that
break
see
though.
from here that you're out for blood. Tell me what you want from me. I feel like no one's listening to me. Can't shake the feeling that you won't fight fair. I try to see the good that's in everyone. I can see from here that you're out for blood. Tell me what you want from me. I feel like no one's listening to me. Can't shake the feeling that you won't fight fair. Some days I don't care. Some days I don't care. I just don't care.
Woo! Wow. That was a cool one. Guys, that was track 5 off of Coast is Clear from Outline and Color. If you'd like to pick the record up, links in the description. Man, this one was a little different, I would say, from the songs that we've listened to thus far, but I really enjoyed it. Ron says the vocals remind him a bit of the Used. I would definitely say I think Bert is a pretty big influence on Skaggs, who does the clean singing, and he also does Skaggs is the guy who does the unclean vocals, as well as like some cleans, and then their bass player slash vocalist Jonathan is the one that has been doing the choruses, which he sounds fantastic on this track. But I will say again, very similarly to Tear Me Down, I think Skaggs really holds the crown on this track. I love his really aggressive vocal style in this one. I love the kind of like yell, scream, like that real like kind of guttural, like just vibe to his scream. I really do appreciate that, as well as just like his way of like kind of having that like really aggressive like clean singing style, very similarly to, I would say, like Sam of Architects. I see that pretty frequently, but I think that he does it in a different way, where there's just a little bit more like just a little bit more soul to it, you know, and I like that. It reminds me a lot of like Corey Taylor and the way that he does his vocals, which is really nice. And you don't really hear that too much in metalcore as much as you used to. So I do appreciate that. I will also say that chorus just hits. I love it. Super strong. And then that breakdown kind of came out of nowhere. I thought for sure they were going to hit me with the breakdown like pretty much right off the bat, but I like that little gap that they added in there. It threw me off. I'm sure you saw in that middle portion. I just completely missed the mark on it, but it really hits. And I will also say the electronic elements in this track were really cool. I love the little the string section at the end. That was so clean. But yeah, this one was a fun song. And I imagine this one goes off live. Like, this one seems like, you know how like you have a song on an album and you just feel like it just goes so well live. This one I imagine is one that is just going to be nuts to play live. I don't know if they're going to wind up playing this. They're going to be on, unfortunately, I think Electric Callboy had to drop off their tour. But I believe they are still going through with it with Attack, Conquer Divide, and then big shout outs to Across the Whitewater Tower. They've been on the channel before, and big ups to them because they got on that tour, which is really nice. But yeah, this one was fun. Jonathan sounds insane on this track. I love the way his melodies kind of like flow in the chorus. That was really awesome. And I like how his like, he hits that like really nice middle clean vocal style, but then when he gets into those like high register notes, he almost has this like beautiful kind of falsetto-y sort of sound to his vocals. So definitely big fan of that. And I think it complements Skaggs' like aggressive styling so well that you get this really like clean, beautiful kind of vocals, and then you get Skaggs' like aggressive, like more like from the soul kind of singing. So I think they hit you on both ends, which it's always a good move. Ron said, "Singy, screamy style." I feel you. That's the heart and soul of metalcore, baby. We love that. So, but yeah, this one was a fun one. I think the electronic elements definitely play a large role in why I feel like this one is a solid, super solid track, as well as just the instrumentation too, as well. Like, I got to give a lot of credit to their drummer because he's got some beats. So shout outs to Austin, and then CJ as well. He's got some really awesome riffs in this one. So big ups. This one, thus far, we're chugging through these songs, but they've been phenomenal. So really enjoy this one. If you like the band, please go check them out. But we're going to move into track number 6, which is Do Your Worst featuring Loveless. If you already know the channel, you know how much I love Loveless. But I have listened to this one, but love to listen to it again. So let's go get into track number 6.
All the opportunity wasted
Oh, the cleans.
on you, running from my own complacence. Let's face it, try to love, but you won't love me.
I feel like this could be on
This
Octane.
wasn't meant to be. It's time I learn my lesson. I see. I can take the blame, you can't put it on me. Do your worst, that's what you do best. Pull that trigger, no bulletproof vest. Don't have mercy on me now. Leave me bleeding out on the ground. You can do your worst till there's nothing left. That's what you do best. Yeah, that's what you do best. Pulling the rug, no, I'll never get rest. While you take every
The melody.
you gotta hold on, babe. And now I got answers for questions I never had. Now I
Julian.
got anger when I used to just feel sad. Why are you making it so hard? Do your worst, that's what you do best. Blame it all on me. Pull that trigger, no bulletproof vest. Watch me crawl. Don't have mercy on me now. Leave me bleeding
Those high
out on the
vocals.
ground. You can do your worst till there's nothing left. That's what you do best. You know I can go round for round. You would know the ending if you heard the sound. Tried to find the good in you, but hell is all you put me through. So watch what happens next. You always know what's best. Do your worst, that's what you do best. Blame it all on me. Pull that trigger, no bulletproof vest. Watch me crawl. Don't have mercy on me now. Leave me bleeding out on the ground. You can do your worst till there's nothing left. That's what you do best. That's what you do best. That's what you do best.
Oh, that one's so good. Oh my god, I love this one. This one I think this one would be the most radio friendly. Like I could definitely, if it hasn't been on Octane already, I would be very surprised because it does have that very like Octane, like this is definitely going to be one of our radio songs. Ron asked me, shouts to Ron, he's the major homie here, love it. He said, what are your thoughts on listening to singles before an album gets released? Does it enhance your experience for you? Genuinely, I try not to listen to the singles, unless like I feel like there's some sort of like hype around it. Like I will listen to it, which most occasions I'll wind up recording a reaction video for it, so I don't feel like it's very similarly to like the Bill Murray record, you know. I have a lot of love for Bill Murray, so that was kind of why I wanted to do reaction videos for the two singles, and then obviously I did a reaction video for the whole album as well. So I think it does enhance the experience, but also maybe kind of detracts a little bit. And the reason why I say that is I will say that as much as I love listening to the singles, like when they're out, and I can just be like, oh, okay, the single's out, I love it. I will say that if it's just a single, it kind of loses that context in the album a little bit in that aspect, where I feel like, not that I don't get any more or less out of the track, I think it detracts from my opinion of what I feel like the album's gonna be like, because it's like, okay, you get the singles out, you listen to them, and then you listen to the album. It's like, okay, well, how well are they integrated into the album? Is the question I usually ask myself when I, do these sorts of live reactions. Um, and how well do I feel like they are in comparison to, like, when I listen to the album in full, do I feel like they were good singles to be released for the album cycle, right? And I will say with Do Your Worst, like, this one I think is more of an outlier. Again, I haven't listened to the rest of the album, so I want to kind of save my opinion for that at the end. But listening to 6 of the songs already, pretty much, I can kind of get an idea of where they were going for. And I think that they are mostly trying to have this one just hit the radio. This one's going to be like, this is like, hey, we're a band, we're doing this stuff. Like, here's one that's going to fit well on Octane. And this one, I could totally imagine being on Octane. And that's awesome, because I think that that gets them out to a bigger audience, which is really neat. But I also think at the same point, it's like, this kind of gives you a skewed opinion of what the album's going to be like. I think with Quicksand, which is the other single I had listened to, I just liked it from the sheer aspect of, like, I enjoy Michael Swank, who's in this band called Foxera, but he also used to be in a band that I loved, which was Michael Relocate. And so I already have an opinion for what I feel like those songs are like, and I like Michael Swank a lot, so I was already something I was like, okay, on board with this. So I think it really depends on the album, but generally speaking, I think they do a pretty good job of kind of like laying down what the album's going to be like. I will say, in the context of like the Bill Murray record, that was like, I think both singles were both of the best song. I would definitely say like Void Approaches was the best song on that album, and not to like divulge like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Cause I already knew I loved that song. But I feel like comparatively to the rest of that album, they're all like, every song is different. So I think that that in and of itself doesn't help me out at all. But I think with this album, and Do Your Worst being the first song that I listened to off this album, I think it does encapsulate their sound. While it be more like radio friendly, I would argue, I still think it has aspects of outline and color that I love. So that was a very long-winded answer, Ron, so I do apologize, but I do like listening to the singles if I can. Usually I wind up recording something to kind of counteract my, like, I guess, like, opinion on it, but overall I do like it. I do like trying to listening to the singles if I can. If not, then I'll try to hold off and just have myself experience it in full as I listen to it, very similarly to what I'm doing right now. So he also said huge ass chorus, which I love, just opened up the song. I will say the layering on this song is nuts. There was some really like high, like, I don't even know, I guess it would be like falsetto singing at the very top. Like, you could definitely hear like the different layers of different vocals. Like, you can hear Skag's vocals, you can hear Jonathan singing, and then obviously Julian, who is Loveless, you can hear his like real high vocals, which I really enjoy. And I think, again, I want to give a shout out whoever did their mix and mastering on this album, because it sounds so massive. So really big shout outs. And then the last thing Ron said was, I could easily see this band touring with Silverstein. Listen, if they toured with Silverstein, I would 100% go out and see them. Not that I wouldn't anyway, because I would love to see Outline and Color, but I think that they would be a very good band to tour with. Definitely Silverstein. I could see that. Or I will say Attack Attack's a good touring partner that they're with right now, or will be with. Another band I think would be really cool to see them with, that's like maybe a little bit bigger. Um, I'm trying to think who would be really good, because they hit like a good niche between, like, I think they would do really well on like a Memphis Mayfire tour, to be fair. Like, I think that, because like with like the most current Memphis Mayfire album, I think they could definitely, I think Outline in Color and like Memphis Mayfire could definitely do a tour together. I think that would work really well with like Silverstein, or they could even like tour with Prada, I would say too. Like they definitely have some like crossover appeal in terms of like they have songs that are heavy. So like if they were going to be on a heavier tour, like, because there's one song on here that features Chris Roeder of like Moss of Flames, so I feel like they could definitely hit the like heavier side of touring, but I also feel like they could hit like the post-hardcore side of bands like a Silverstein or like a Amni Affliction, or someone like big in that sort of space. I think they could do a very good job of doing that. Again, I would love to see them with any of those bands, because I think they deserve a bigger tour slot. I mean, obviously they'll be co-headlining with Attack, but I would love to see them on like a really nice tour that just tours the States, so, and Canada. So that'd be really cool. My opinions of this track, like I said, like Ron said, I have listened to this one, and again, this was one of the singles. I enjoy this one a lot. I think that the melodies and the hooks on this track were so well put together. The layering, again, I can't scream it enough from the rooftops. I think the layering of this track is just so well put together, and I love the fact that, like, again, Julian was throughout the entire track. I think that was really cool, because they could have just done like a portion of it and that would have been like, okay, that's cool, that's nice, but I love that he's like so integrated into the track. And for people who aren't familiar with Loveless, he's kind of like I would say he's like alternative, like pop kind of stuff. So I would say that this isn't really his field of music. And I don't know if he was in like a previous project that was like a little bit heavier, but like his vocals work so well with this band that I have to say this is one of the stronger tracks off this album thus far. That's just probably up there with Super Ego as being one of my favorites. So I think this one, I already have a lot of love for this track, but that chorus is where everything kind of pops off, and Jonathan and Skaggs and Julian all do a fantastic job with that. I think the instrumentals take a little bit more of a backseat on this track, which is totally fine, because I think there's a lot going on with 3 different vocalists singing at roughly the same amount of time. So I think that kind of makes it a little bit chaotic in that aspect, but the instrumentation, I think, hits like a nice bass line where you're like, okay, this is solid, we don't have to do anything crazy, but I think it works out well. Ron said most of the metalcore I listen to falls more of the abrasive side of things, so like Converge, Vane, Varials. Yeah, I totally get that. I think that I think like metalcore in general, I love when bands kind of I think this band's kind of like a cross between like a post-hardcore band and like a metalcore band. There are songs that are definitely heavier, but I also think they have songs like these that are a little bit more melodic but have heavier elements to them. But I'm in the same boat. Like, I'll go anything from like deathcore to like, indie to folk, that sort of stuff. So I kind of am all over the map in terms of music. I really have been getting into like pop a lot as well. And I think that there's a necessity to have like that aggressive, like almost like unpolished nature to like heavier bands, because I think it's almost like, for example, I was talking to my roommate about the Boundaries record, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm going to be listening to it tomorrow on stream, so come hang out if you are interested, Ron, more specifically, because I know you're here right now. But I heard that the production on that is a little bit more like aggressive, I would say, like a little bit more like peaking in that sort of sense, but not like peaking, if that makes sense. So I'm very curious on how the production of it is, and I think that just with the way that the metalcore landscape has been, there's just been a lot of different producers. So I think it's very interesting to see how everybody does it a little bit differently, and I'm very curious on the state of how bands are going to be produced going further. And that's a whole nother topic that I would be curious to get into at maybe a later date. But yeah, I was gonna listen to the new Varials record, but I'm not trying to get DMCA'd off the internet, so that will probably not happen. But maybe I'll do like a quick review of it or something. Let me know, because I've heard really good things about it. I know people were a little bit butthurt about the clean singing, but that's my jam. I'm about the clean singing. So also I love Vane. Vane's great. Converge is also great too. So big shout outs to Ron. He's got some good recommendations. He also said love the more polished production on this album. Yeah, I think, like I said, I don't know who did the production on this album, but whoever did, we're gonna give them the kudos they deserve, because they've been killing it. I think thus far it's like there's been a really good mix of like some more softer songs where I feel like the production value is a lot higher, and then you get a song like this where it's like heavy, and then there's also like a really high level of production going on with Do Your Worst. So I do appreciate that. And again, one of my favorites off this album. And again, I'm a little bit biased because I really do love Loveless, and I love Outline and Color. So I feel like this was already a match made in heaven for me. So I think this one was this one is one of my favorites, and I'm gonna continue to listen to this one because this one's a great one. But we're gonna move on to track number 7, which is Quicksand. Again, this features Michael Swank. Go check out his band Foxera. If you're an OG fan, much like myself, you know him from Michael Relocate. So let's get into it and enjoy this one.
On and on, I never
That riff at the beginning.
one more scratch and claw from answers I don't want to know. In case I forgot, here to let me know. One day's out, I'll have to read the things I've done. One more time, that's all I get. Forget my name, I don't exist. Everything fucking hurts by my tongue. Clench my fist, I've thrown it into zoo. Your stand is sinking quick. I'm feeling the burnout, I've got nothing left. I battled my demons, yours will come to collect. I refuse to define any morality. I'm running to let go, somebody save me. On and on, I still can't let go. Pushing past my limits, now the seams have come unsewn. I never was done, I learned when I was grown. You can't ever look back once the curtain's shown. Connected only by a heartbeat. I know you can only see so much from the backseat. Memories, all often you can keep. You can't get your life straight. You're in too deep. I'm feeling the burnout, I've got nothing left. I battled my demons, yours will come to collect. I refuse to define any morality. I'm running to let go, will somebody save me? And I'm ready to let this go. I don't think it's time to waste all of this time. Will somebody save me? With the body is still on the
Wow, that double bass, I forgot.
between those broken lines. Will somebody save me? Feeling the burnout. Feeling the burnout. Feeling the burnout. Feeling the burnout.
Woo! That was awesome, guys. That was track number 7. That was Quicksand off of Outline and Color's newest record, Above Coast. The Coast is Clear. Coast is Clear. Go check it out. This one was so good. Again, it's one I've already listened to, but I thought this one was super tight. Again, huge Michael Swank fan, so big shouts to Mikey Swank. Love him. Go go check out Micah Relocate if you haven't. I know they're an older band, but man, their catalog is so good. So big shouts. One of the OG metalcore bands, I'd argue. But this one was really good. And I think, like I said with Bitter earlier, I think both Bitter and Quicksand give a pretty good representation of what the album is going to be like. And as I mentioned before with Ron, and talking about singles and how they kind of affect your opinion on how the album is going to be, I will say that these two songs, both being Bitter and Quicksand, I think they do a very good job of kind of giving you a barometer of what the album is going to sound like, looking in hindsight. Because I don't think they released any other singles besides those three. And then I think they released a music video on Friday, which I don't really count as a single. It's just a cool little thing that they did for this album. But I do feel like this one gives a really good representation of it. I think Swank killed it in that last chorus and bridge breakdown piece. I thought that was really tight. But I also really love Skag's parts. His vocals, especially his screaming in the verses, were super tough. Love it. Because I feel like he is pretty versatile in his screaming. He hits that nice, again, mid-range, but I don't feel like he really hits that low end super well. And I feel like in songs like these, you get to hear a lot. I wouldn't say well. I'll retract. Let me rewind. I think he hits the low end super well, but he doesn't do it a lot. Because I think he feels like his bread and butter, at least from what I could argue, is his bread and butter is that mid-range, and then he kind of has some high screaming. But I love just the depth of the screaming in this track. I think it's really well executed, and I also like that Swank also did some screaming, because he's got a very specific tonality to his voice as well as his screaming. But then I also agree with Ron. The drumming on this, immaculate. We love it. Big shouts to their drummer, Austin. The double bass on that ending breakdown piece was so clean. He didn't have to add that that little pedal push on there, but I do appreciate it, because I think it just makes it more interesting. I like when bands kind of switch it up in a breakdown. It's always really nice. And then the chorus was super solid. Jonathan just ripping it apart. They really have been doing super well with the choruses on this album. I think they've all been really catchy, and that's what I love about metalcore, is they just hit you with those great aggressive verse parts, and then they hit you with a really powerful chorus, and I think this is no short of that, certainly. The addition, again, of Swank was really well put together, and I like how he was incorporated. I don't feel like he was incorporated as well as Loveless, because I think that those songs, were more of a collaboration. This was more of a feature, which is totally fine. I do appreciate that, but I think thus far, out of the features on the album that we have listened to, I think Loveless is taking the cake as of currently, but I also have not listened to the one with a void on it a little bit later on. Definitely a great band if you haven't checked them out. And then Chris Roeder of Moss to Flames, there's going to be a feature from him a little bit later on in this album, which is really nice. But yeah, this one has a great heaviness to it. I think this is what you would categorize as just a really fantastic, straightforward metalcore track that had a little bit of, a little spice. We like that. So this one was a vibe. I would say that it's pretty I would put this probably in the middle. I think it's a very solid song. I don't think it's up in my favorites of this album, but I would say it's really cool. And I think, again, piggybacking on what Ron said about the drumming, I think that was what really made it stand out to me a little bit more than the atypical metalcore track. But really enjoyed this one. This one was fun, and we're gonna move it on to track number 8, which is Bite My Tongue.
I got lost in my mind when you try to take me for it.
Ooh, what a riff.
I know you made me suffer for it. My heart is broken in two, but I'll make suffer for it.
those verses. Nice.
Staring on ceiling sun, looking through your eyes. Stuck in your web of lies, it just never dies. A little remedy, what you have to me. Short noise makes the price around the one place. You haven't had it yet, tell me what you've been waiting for. You're different side, and I'm so sick of keeping the score. I feel that enough. Why I do this to myself when I wouldn't do this to anyone else. Now I'll be disrespected.
Oh, this is sick. The real stuttery. Oh, that's cool.
I can't turn my back to you fast enough. Any more than you can turn back, just about. Surrender to me everything that you know. Fuck the words that you said, you know it's all that you tell. Black and white, the colors finally show. Blood target dripping black, my heart is turned to stone. No matter how hard you try, I'll never let you get the upper hand. Falling and failing forever, you can't make a stand. I feel that enough. Why I do this to myself when I wouldn't do this to anyone else. Now I'll be disrespected. And I take on too much. Overwhelmed at the least of all I've ever heard. That I keep telling myself how
Oh man, there's something so good on this one too. This one was, wow. This one was different. I liked it. I think the rhythm on this track was really tight. Just the way that like, I felt like it was very different from what I'd expect them to do. It felt very like Silent Planet-esque in that sense. Like I think the riff, like the way that the riff went, big shout outs to CJ. He is just killing it on the guitar parts. But the riff definitely reminded me a lot of like a Silent Planet track. But the chorus reminded me a lot of like Secrets. His voice kind of has like a Richard Rodgers kind of feel to his clean singing. So I hope that's a massive compliment to you, Jonathan, because I love Rich. He's been on the channel. Big shout outs. But I love Secrets, and I think that would be a great band for them to tour with too. Secrets would be, that'd be clean. We'd love it. But yeah, I think the thing that interests me the most on this track was just the way that the song was like laid out. I think the rhythms were really interesting. I think the chorus was really, that pre-chorus with like, it almost felt like choir kind of singing was very interesting, and the way that it transitioned into that chorus was really cool. So I do appreciate that, because it was just a weird, odd thing that worked out so well. So I do appreciate it, because I think it was just really, songwriting wise, very cool. Ron says the songwriting is really interesting. The transition between the softer / melodic portions and the screamed vocals is keeping me on my toes. I can agree with you more, Ron, on that one. I think that again, Skag's screaming is so tight. I think this was another really great song where he's been able to utilize his screaming super well. But yeah, this one was very like, it's very techie, which I was a little bit surprised, because I don't feel like they're kind of like throwing me for a loop a little bit, and I like that, because I think with albums you always think like, oh man, what are they gonna do next? And I felt like in this track I was literally like, what are they gonna do next? I have no idea, because I think that the way that it transitioned in certain things, you're like, oh man, there's no way that this would go this way, and then they completely flipped the switch and did something different. So this one, I think, is gonna grow on me a lot, and I would also say that this is by far the most interesting track on the album. I would say up there with Super Ego. I think those two are the most interesting songs off this record, but it's been really good, like really, really, really good. And this is coming from an Outline and Color fan that's been around since like Jury of Wolves. So for me, I feel like they've always done something really interesting, but the riff-tacular summer here, or I guess it would be fall, riff-tacular fall going on here with CJ. I think he's been absolutely killing it. And then again, Austin, man, the drumming is so unique on this song. Like, I don't like the again. I think it goes along with the rhythm changes in this song too, as well. It just really is keeping me again to say what Ron says. It's keeping me on my toes, certainly, and I think that that's really cool. So, love it. Bite My Tongue. I think this one's gonna be one of my favorites. It's definitely like above mid, but really enjoyed this one a ton. So let's get into track number 9, which is Get Free. All right, all right.
I'm gonna get free, I'm gonna get free, I'm gonna get free. Right into the sun, she never loved me.
Wow, this is totally different. What the hell?
Why should anyone? I'll take you for you. Show you around the corner. 'Cause you know you really oughta.
This has got like such a punk feel to it. I love it. It's like oh yeah, this is a vibe. I love this. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, are they gonna hit me with that? I feel like a breakdown's coming. Oh! Oh man, this is so sick! What the fuck? Oh my god, this is awesome. What the? Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh, wow. What a fucking track. Guys, this is track number 9 off of Outline and Color's newest record. Coast is Clear. Go pick it up. Links in the description. Oh man, I got goosebumps. Wow, that was a good one. Whoa. Holy shit. Oh, all right. Give me this one. First of all, I was not even expecting this type of track to be on this record. Like this, it started off like very punk. Like it almost had like this, like Green Day. Oh man, like I'm trying to even place it. It's kind of got like a Green Day kind of feel to it a little bit, but then it goes like a little rock. Like it's almost got like this kind of like oh my god, this one threw me. Oh, this threw me off track so much. It kind of has almost like a Beartooth kind of vibe to it, like some of the stuff that's more in that rock stuff, maybe like similarly to like Riptide or things of that nature. Then it's got a little bit of like emo, like kind of I would say like the Used a little bit, as well as like a little bit of My Chemical Romance. So this one was definitely different. Like right out the gate, it feels like a very punk track, and you're like, okay, what are they gonna do? And then you had Bite My Tongue, which is probably the more technical song off the record. So like this one is, I wouldn't say basic in that aspect, because I think they did stuff that was so different, but comparatively to like the riffs on Bite My Tongue, and then you get into this track and it's very like power chordy and like very open and aggressive. It was a nice juxtaposition between the two songs. But I love Skag's vocals. I think he's got that, again, that great grit and tonality, and I think it works super well with a track like this. And then, they did that build up, and I was like, I'm calling it, they're doing a breakdown, and that thing hit. That I gotta give him a lot of kudos, because that was a wild breakdown and not what I was expecting at all. So this one's got to be one of the best songs on the album, certainly. I would probably put this as number one just for the sheer shock value, because I was not expecting that. And I think that goes with the whole, again, the comment I made earlier about listening through to the entire album, because I would have never, if I had just listened to this song, I would have been like, what the fuck's going on here? But in the context of the album, I still think what the fuck's going on here, but now it's in an album, so I get it. So God, this one was such a fun track, and then you just get whacked by that woo, you get whacked by that breakdown. Oh, it was so cool. So cool. I love it. Ron said, as a first-time listener, I gotta say the variation on this record is a huge strength. Would agree. Did not expect this at all. Again, after Bite My Tongue, not fully aware of what's going on here, but man, Get Free, out of this world. This one was kudos Outline and Color. You threw me for a loop. I got to give you guys credit for that. I do feel like Jonathan takes a little bit of the back seat on this, which is totally fine. I think this is very much a forward track for Skaggs, which is awesome. But man, I was not expecting this one, and I think it came out so great. So kudos to them. This one's probably my favorite. I like this one a lot. So we're going to move it on to track number 10, which is Stay Away. This one features Avoid. One of the, I would argue, one of the coolest metalcore / post-hardcore punk kind of band coming up right now. They're doing great stuff. They're label mates, which is also really cool. I'd love for them to go on a tour together. I think that would be awesome. So I don't know if that's in the works, a thriller tour, but would love to see that. But yes, this one is called Stay Away. They did release a music video for this one as well, so if you want to go check that out, please go do so. But yeah, let's get into Stay Away.
Electronic break.
so sick. What the fuck?
Won't
shit.
make the same mistake. My heart's not yours to take.
this is sick.
I don't wanna be hopeless, feeling so helpless. Every time somehow, how will we ever? I don't wanna be hopeless, feeling so helpless. So stay away. My heart's not yours to take.
All right, guys, if you just tuned in, this was track number 10 off of Outline in Color's newest record, Coast is Clear. Go check the links in the description to go pick it up. If you like it, go do it. Go support the boys. We love them. Shoutouts to Outline in Color. They're the babes. Ron says, best breakdown in the record for me so far. Would agree that felt very, like... That felt very Avoid-esque, so I'd imagine they probably had a heavy hand in that breakdown because that felt like very like ba 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 ba. I love that. That was so tight. Like, and then the ending with the layered screams. Oh, it was great. And the way that it transitioned back into that chorus was super tight. The choruses reminded me a lot of like a Plot and You song. You know, I think that it kind of reminded me of I forget what that one Plot and You song's called. It's from Happiness and Self-Destruction. Take Me Away, I think, or Take Me Away, I think. Let me look. I'm gonna look it up. I don't want to look like an idiot. But that felt very like the Plot and You esque. So I thought that was really cool. Also, I was gonna type in the Plot and You esque, which I thought was funny. Let me see. Yeah, I think it was, I'm almost positive it was that song. I'm double checking here, guys. I appreciate you bearing with me here. My Old Ways. It had a very My Old Ways kind of like breakdown, or not breakdown. Again, rewind. We're going to say it again because I was so screwed up from I'm just gonna blame it on Get Free. I'm kind of just fucked up right now. I will say it had a very like My Old Ways kind of chorus, and I thought that was really solid because I feel like that was a band that I didn't really mention in this review thus far, but I can hear a lot of similarities in like the Plot and You and the way that they do things. Obviously, I think they're a little bit lighter, but I will say overall. I had that very like Plot and You, My Old Ways kind of chorus, which was really cool. I also really enjoyed, this one was a little bit like more reserved up until you got to the chorus, and then I think it blew up more in the chorus, and then once Avoid kind of stepped in with like the breakdown and the way that the song was put together, I think that really worked out super well. I'm very curious how much of a effect they had on this song, because it does have a very strong like Avoid sort of sound to it, and obviously they're a fantastic band, so if you haven't checked them out, I would definitely do so. But I felt like this was a pretty like even collab with what they were going for, but it definitely has more of an Avoid flavor to it, which is very cool. So this one was solid. I think the breakdown was really the peak of the song, certainly. But I like the choruses, and I really like Avoid a lot, so I feel like this one is kind of like in that mid-range, but overall, I thought that was neat. Ron also said the synth passage was very interesting. I will say as well, like the electronics on this album have been really cool. Some of them have been more subtle, and I like that some of them have been a little bit more in your face, a little bit more direct. I think it makes it more interesting as a listener. But yeah, I enjoyed this one a ton. But I really think that breakdown, that hit. I liked it. But we're going to move it on to track number 11, which is Toss the Match. This one features Chris Roeder of Like Moths to Flames. If you haven't checked out Like Moths to Flames, very good band. If you have been in metalcore for a long time, you should know that name very well. But anyway, let's get it on to track number 11, Toss the Match. like the synth at this beginning. This is cool. All right.
We're having a tough time remembering what this is all about.
Ooh.
Gas me up before you toss the mash. You think your family? That's cause you never asked. You wanna keep pushing? Well, I got strings attached. You kill 'em with a smile. Well, I say throw your mask. You can bring me up, but leave me out of the conversation. You can suck your shit, come on, Bill's in the equation. Skeletons in your closet, you better get in front of them. Better stop running, boy, before you become lava. I got more. You think I forgot?
This guy grew. I love this chorus.
Because of you, the chains that frost, inverted cross on the crucifix. Pray for us, every drop of bleed. I know you're on to me, somewhere in between. All the options free. Every single time, we're descending out of line. Seconds counting, minutes lost, motherfucking never mind. My path has shown there's nothing left but lies. I cannot break the cycle, matters now hard to try. Where the fuck were you when I needed you? Feeling deja vu, living with an empty room.
Oh my god!
Fuck you.
Wow, holy shit.
When it gets too deep to burn, will you bleed just another? When the bitter echo, will you drown in the fire below? I'll fix me. Dead. My blood has never died. No longer want to breathe. Live. Swing like guillotine.
Oh my god. That one was awesome, guys. That was track number 11, Toss the Match. This one had a very strong like new metal feel to it. Oh man, that was super sick. I really liked that one a lot. Love the synths going on in this track too. I think the electronics definitely stand out. I love the kind of like scream rap going on, you know. That was really sick. I thought that was really cool. The chorus. Woo! That's fire. We love the chorus. That was on point. I really enjoyed that. I love the melody of that like it just like, oh, so good. We loved that. I will also say that the Ollie Ollie Oxenfree, I don't know how the fuck he got that in there, but that was pretty on fire. I like that. Shout out to Skaggs. He was killing it. But I love the incorporation of Chris. I don't know if he was in that second that second breakdown, or not second breakdown, in the first breakdown, and then at the end, it sounded like he was. But I think they incorporated Chris super well. He sounded super sick. I would have loved to hear him do some clean vocals. I think that would have been the only thing that I would have loved to hear an addition of. But overall, this one was a vibe all around. It almost gave me like a North Lane kind of feel, like off their new album Obsidian. It's kind of got that. It really had like a strong focal point of synth, and then the guitar riffs on top of that, and the drumming. so well put together. Again, can't speak enough praises about CJ, and I keep forgetting their drummer's name, which I'm going to keep going back to their wiki page. Austin, both of them are killing it. I thought the riffs were super tight on this one. Again, very new metal-esque. There was a couple songs that had like a really new metal flavor to them, which is totally cool. I'm about it. But this one was fun. I would say this one's up there with my favorites on the album. Definitely. And again, Chris Roeder was a really nice addition. I think he added a nice little tonality change, but also another hard-hitting aspect of it. But yeah, this one was a cool one. This one is definitely different. I think thus far right now, unless Bury My Thoughts like blows my mind out of the water, I think I pretty much have a set favorites, but we'll have to get into it. But we're gonna get into last track, guys. I know, end of the road. It's real. I'm real sad, but I'll be hopping back on in like 15 minutes to go over another album, Boston Manor's newest record. So if you are in here in the chat, you just don't have to wait long, and you'll see it. You'll see me again with the same shirt on. But anyway, this is Bury My Thoughts. Let's get into it.
Sitting with an empty vessel,
Ooh, all right.
suspended in the thought of disbelief again. Start staring at the ceiling, pretending I'm someone that I might never be. Should I bury my thoughts or let them choke me out? Feels like I'm failing, I can't see. The world is different around me. Get me back to reality. Trapped in a single moment, repeating endlessly. I feel I'm sinking. Stuck staring at the ceiling, pretending that this is all means to an end. Should I bury my thoughts or let them choke me out? Feels like I'm failing, I can't see. The world is different around me. Get me back to reality. Afraid of taking chances. I'm breaking just to see some change slipping through my fingers. Is it always gonna be this way? Impatient waiting for the day. I keep my head on straight. I can't remember anything. All I feel is suffering. Focus on the imperfections. So staring back at me again. Consuming me until I end them. Sitting with an
Oh man, I thought they were gonna hit me with an even deeper breakdown.
Thought of disbelief again. Stuck staring at the ceiling, pretending.
Ooh, that like really reverberated drum roll. I like this. Oh, this is sick.
Should I bury my thoughts?
Nice. That was cool. Are they gonna kick it in?
Feels like I'm failing, I can't see. The world is different around me. Get me back to reality. I thought I'd already been dead, reaching for one that's in my head. Get me back, get me back, get me back. You're gone.
Ooh, they're hitting it with that last big fucking breakdown. Oh, I love it. Wow. Oh, God. All right, guys, this was the last track. Bury My Thoughts off of Outline and Color's newest record, Coast is Clear. Woo! We did it, guys. I just want to say this was a very cool song to close the album out, which is exactly what Ron said. I just read it now. But I think they do. I think they just did a really good job of making it interesting. And, again, what Ron said here, because I think he took the words right out of my mouth. But he said, the way that this album subverted some of the cliches of the genre is really a really standout feature for this band. I think they just sprinkle the right amount of a variation to keep the listener enticed. And I will say that for sure. As listening from front to back, this album, I will say that the typical tropes that you would get from a metalcore album, this definitely has some of those, but then also at the same time, they do stuff that is completely different. I would say like tracks like Get Free, that kind of subverted that whole ideology of what you expect from metalcore albums. I'd also say like Toss the Match, and then like you have songs that kind of hit that like nice middle point, which is like Do Your Worst. Then you have songs that are a little bit more technical, like Bite My Tongue. I think there's a nice variation of different genres and like subgenres that are in this band that I think they hit all of the notes. No pun intended, obviously, being in a band. That was a joke. It's a joke. Anyway, getting back to Bury My Thoughts, I really enjoyed this one a lot. I love the real, like, I love the rhythm of this track. I think it just flowed super well. That chorus was super sick. And then I love that first breakdown hit. I thought that was really tight. And I love that they ended it off on a strong note with another, like, again, follow-up to that breakdown. I thought that was really cool. And I think it encapsulates this whole record where there are songs that, again, really hit that middle lane of, like, what you expect from, metalcore musicians. But also at the same point, I think there's so much variation going on in this album that I think if you go back and listen to it, I think it's got a great mix of songs that you can share with people that maybe aren't really into heavy music, like Do Your Worst. I think that one is a really good, like, again, octane sort of track that hits well. But then you have really technical tracks like Bite My Tongue. I would also say like Toss the Match is another really kind of good, more technical track. And then you have, like Fight Fair is another really good one. I enjoyed this from front to back, and this was with listening to the singles. And I will say that with the singles that were released, I think they did a very good job of giving you an idea of what the album will sound like. Generally, I think there were some songs that, again, just you would have never picked up from just listening to the singles, but I think they did a very good job of knowing what songs to release to give you the best chance to understand how the album is going to sound like. And that is, again, the biggest compliment I can give to Thriller and Outline and Color, because they did a great job of pushing this album out. And I hope you guys go pick it up. I'm definitely picking up the vinyl. I gotta add this to my collection 100%. This one is probably going to be one of my favorite albums of this year, certainly. I think there was just some left-hand turns that I wasn't expecting. There were some songs that I felt very much hit in that pocket, and then there were some songs that were just, like, real solid all-around tracks, and I just had a fucking great time listening to this album. So, if you can, guys, go pick out Outline and Color's newest record, Coast is Clear. Links in the description to go pick it up. Let me know in the comments what your favorite tracks are. My personal favorites are, I would say Get Free is number 1. I would say Super Ego was number 2. I would say Toss the Match would be number 3. Bite My Tongue is number 4. And then I would probably round that lit 5 out with Do Your Worst. I thought that one was just hooks for days. We love it. But an honorable mention, I would say, is Coast is Clear is also a really fantastic track. But again, all of them I really loved, and I'm very curious of where this band's going to be going in like the next year or so, because I think they have the potential to have that sort of radio friendliness, like on an octane, but then I also feel like they have that heaviness to kind of be on a heavier tour, or be out with markets like Silverstein, or like a Used, or like they could really hit the whole map. And I think that while this album might seem varied to some people, I think there's a lot of interweaving sounds that really work work this album together. Like, you could have some songs that are a little bit heavier, you could have songs that are a little bit more in that pocket, but overall, really enjoy this one. And I think this one is going to have a ton of repeat value for me. I'm so excited to probably throw this on at the gym. I mean, vibing out. It's going to be a great time. So really been enjoying this one. Ron says his favorites are Do Your Worst, Bite My Tongue, and Bury My Thoughts. Can't agree with you more. I think you got some really great picks there, Ron. But yeah, this one, fantastic track. If you haven't listened to this, well, all those are fantastic tracks. If you haven't listened to this album yet, please go pick it up. It would be awesome to go support them. And if you live close, they're going to be out on tour with Attack Attack. I think they minimized how long of a tour it's going to be, so hopefully they get picked up on a bigger tour in 2023, and the best way you can help is by picking up this album. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out. You will not have to wait long. In 15 minutes, I'll be back on here live talking about the new Boston Manor record, Datura. I'm going to I think I butchered it, but I don't know. Very excited to listen to it. I know it's been really good, and I don't think a lot of people have been talking about it, so I'm very excited to get into it. I do like Boston Manor a lot. I kind of fell off a little bit, but I've, again, heard some really good things about this record, so I'm excited. So, guys, if you enjoyed this review, reaction, whatever you want to call it, really appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe. It helps me get the video out there to more people like you, as well as that it shows me that you like what I do. And listen, I love all of you to death. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out. See you very soon. And what I mean by very soon, I mean actually very soon if you are watching this live. So thank you guys for watching.